Start by standing and doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. Very excited to see our elementary students here this evening. I see lots of you here. And Betty, please let the record show that the board met in executive session to just consider the collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law. We are going to start this evening with our young students to talk about our waste reduction and recycling program. So I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Girizzo, who will pass it over to our teachers.
Great. So over the course of probably 2 months, I've been meeting with some very committed individuals at the Seacliff School and Glen Head and Glenwood Landing, and we've been talking about our ability to reduce our waste, reduce our footprint, and to recycle more. And so these young men and ladies made very compelling arguments, and I said, I'll tell you what, you have sold me on this. I am with you. I am excited to be with you on this. And will you come to a board meeting and, pitch your presentation? And they said yes. And so here they are. So I'm going to turn this over to who's opening for you guys tonight. Oh, there's a head. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to all of you. Good luck, and I'm excited to make some decisions with you when we're all done here. Yes?
Yes.
All right. The first question they asked me was, Dr. Girizzo, can Vikings go greener? And I think the answer to that is a resounding yes. So let's hit it.
Hi, my name is Caroline Winchester, and I am a student at Seacliff School. We are here to ask for your support as we work through the problem of paper and plastic waste at North Shore Schools. Students at North Shore Schools are generating an ever-increasing amount of paper and plastic waste during their lunch periods. Our paper and plastic waste stream either ends up in a landfill or incinerator because we no longer have a recycling company to collect and recycle our waste.
Hello, my name is Catherine Persabali, and we are here to educate you about our school's environmental impact. When we looked around Glenwood Landing School and saw no recycling bins, we decided to examine the content of a teacher's classroom waste after one day and the waste from the cafeteria after 2 lunch periods. We saw lots of things that would eventually end up in landfills that could have been recycled, like plastic water bottles, paper bags, and many straws.
Hi, my name is James Brissenden. I'm here today to tell you what happened to our previous recycling program at Seacliff Elementary School. Royal Recycling used to process our recyclables. They would make a profit selling the raw materials to other companies. When there was no longer a market for recycled plastic, it was no longer profitable for Royal Recycling to continue this service.
Hello, my name is Seamus Hughes.
I am Thomas Reynolds.
And I am Graham Lippert.
We are students at Seacliff School.
Plastic is made from petroleum oil.
The oil is extracted from the earth and then cleaned at a refinery.
The oil is then delivered to a plastics factory where it is molded into pellets and then transformed into these new products made of plastic. These products end up in our homes, schools, and businesses.
When petroleum prices dropped, it was cheaper to make new plastic from petroleum rather than from old recycled plastic.
With lower petroleum prices, more new plastic is being created and reusable plastic is being recycled less.
Plastic is not biodegradable, and the amount of plastic on Earth is ever increasing, as evidenced by the litter on our land, air, and in our oceans. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aquina McDermott.
And I am Grace Ryan. We are students at Seacliff School.
When plastic is burned, a group of highly toxic chemicals called dioxins are released into the air. Dioxins are the most harmful chemical to human health. These dangerous gases can cause respiratory problems like asthma and even more severe illnesses affecting the human nervous system.
When plastic waste goes into a landfill, it does not break down to something that is good for our planet. It could take 1,000 years for one piece of plastic to degrade into the chemicals that make it up. Plastic is very lightweight, and some plastic from landfills goes into our waterways and pollutes them.
Hi, my name is Eli Wesley Jones, and I am a student at Seacliff School. Did you know that there are gyres of plastic waste the size of Texas swirling around in our oceans? We worked with Operation Splash and discovered how ocean plastics break down into microplastics, which enter our food chains. In an effort to solve this problem, we collected data to determine the amount of waste we are generating in Seacliff School's cafeteria during K through 5 lunch periods.
Hello, my name is Luke Denley, and I want to tell you about my contribution to the environment based on my observations of Glenwood Landing. I took a pledge on a recent trip to Australia. While I was there, I learned there are groups educating the public, especially surfers, about the hazardous impact plastic waste has on the environment. I took the AIR pledge with it, which is a non-profit called Parley. The A in AIR stands for Avoid Plastic Wherever Possible. The I stands for Intercept Plastic Waste, and the R stands for Redesign Plastic Materials.
Hello, my name is Miki Ikawa. The animals on land and in the water are being treated unfairly, and Glenwood Landing is a part of it. This is all because we aren't recycling or being sustainable. 8.8 million tons of plastic ends up in our oceans every year. That's about 540 million pounds of plastic. Also, within the last 10 years, we produced more plastic than the entire last century.
Hello, my name is Ellen Lemontowski, and I am here to inform you that we are causing problems for land animals all over our planet by failing to recycle at our school. Land, including animals' habitats, are disappearing because of all the landfills we are creating. Some animals that are affected by not recycling are raccoons and birds. Raccoons often get into dumpsters and eat the trash, which sickens them. Birds can also get waste from landfills, which they use to build their nests, which hurts their babies. If we recycle more, then we could have less use for landfills and dumpsters.
Hi, my name is Julia Gannon.
And I'm Connor Daravar.
We are here to talk to you about the Seacliff School waste audit that we conducted. We noticed we were generating a lot of paper and plastic waste. We asked students to dispose of all plastic trash in one bin and paper trash in another. At the end of the lunch period, we measured the amount of paper and plastic waste that was generated.
We discovered that Seacliff School produces 24 cubic feet of paper and plastic waste during K through 5 lunch periods every day. At the end of the school year, we produce enough waste to fill Seacliff School's main office.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Popwitz. On May 15th, we conducted a plastic audit in Glen Head School cafeteria during K through 5 lunch periods. We discovered that our cafeteria is filled with single-use plastic. What was even more shocking was that a staggering 77% of this plastic waste was provided by North Shore School's lunch service. Now, how did we get this number? We counted and sorted every single piece of plastic thrown away during lunch in one day. We put our information in a table. If you look on page 7 of our handout, you will see exactly which items were provided by North Shore Schools. We could not tell whether snack wrappers were brought from home or purchased at school. So on page 8, you will also see that if you add just 1/2 of the snack wrappers used, the school share of plastic goes up to 85%. Thank you.
While analyzing the quantifiable data of trash we collected from one teacher's classroom at Glenwood Landing, there was 129 recyclable items. Our school has over 45 rooms, so if you calculate that, there is about 5,805 recyclable items thrown in the trash at Glenwood Landing that are going right into a landfill. The cafeteria was even worse. The amount of plastic we use is concerning. Based on our data, the amount of paper and plastic going to a landfill is alarming.
Hi, my name is Sydney Lamont, and I am a student at Seacliff School. My colleagues and I believe we have a responsibility to the environment and future generations of Seacliff School students to reduce the amount of paper and plastic waste we produce. One part of our solution to this problem is to share our research about waste reduction programs like waste-free lunch, pack in, pack out, and refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Hi, I'm Naveen Nevarosky, a student from Seacliff School. Student lunch boxes are packed with single-use plastics like baggies and plastic utensils. Since we do not have a plastic recycling program, this plastic goes right into a landfill incinerator or our waterways. When we met with Operation Splash, they reported collecting 2 million pounds of plastic from Long Island bays. We could help reduce the amount of plastic waste in our environment by promoting the use of waste-free, reusable lunch kits.
Hello, my name is Elliot Bryant, and I'm a student from Seacliff School. Pack in, pack out is often used by campers to protect the environment. We would like to use the principles in pack in, pack out at school. This will require students to pack back into their lunch boxes the waste they produce during their lunchtime. This trash can then be recycled at home. Although this may seem inconvenient, this will help greatly reduce the impact of our waste stream on the environment. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lizzie Ori. At Seacliff, we are teaching younger students the importance of the 4 words refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Refuse is when you make the choice to not use plastic products. Reduce is when you as an individual choose to use less plastic products. Reusing is when you can't refuse or reduce. You can reuse the plastic that you already have. Recycle comes last because it's not the perfect solution. So if you can't refuse, reduce, or reuse, then recycle. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Casey Hart. And I am Isabel Lee. We are students at Seacliff School. Through our research, we discovered what is necessary to implement a successful recycling program. One important aspect is to keep our cafeteria paper and plastic waste stream free of contaminants. Substances like food particles and liquids can contaminate recyclable waste. Another important part of recycling is to separate the paper and plastic waste. Right now, all our cafeteria waste goes into one bin, so we do not need to think about contamination and separating waste. When our recycling program begins, students will know those new rules and will be ready to run a successful recycling program. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Coe. North Shore School of North Shore's overuse of plastic is a community problem. To find a solution, we need to consider the total societal impact of our actions. We can't just focus on the economics of this problem, but also the environmental, the political, the ethical, and the environmental. On average, Glen Head students use 805 pieces of plastic in about a day. In the time I have spent at Glen Head, we have used about 725,305 pieces of plastic. This plastic is destroying our environment and leads to negative long-term health effects to all of us. The community and the law support a change. We collected over 200 signatures of community members who want to bring recycling back to the North Shore. And we have only just begun to take signatures. We researched the law and learned that New York State requires private and public schools to recycle materials collected in their local recycling programs. In class, we're learning to reduce, reuse, and recycle. We're even working with programs like Operation Splash. But we are not living what we're learning at North Shore schools.
Hello, my name is Joanna Kim. While researching, I found out that we use 200 to 240 trays just at Glover Landing alone, so I thought we should explore other solutions to this problem. Instead of using cardboard trays and paying for them every day, we can buy metal trays that we can reuse. It will be more cost effective because instead of paying smaller increments of money each day, it is just one larger sum in the beginning.
Hi, my name is Julia Erin Baez, and I am a student at Glenwood Landing School. As you know, for a while now, many students and I have been discussing the fact that there are no recycling bins on North Shore School's property. So, while researching for a solution for this problem, I realized that us as students and even teachers should be encouraging other students to to maybe start a art project with recyclable items that they found at their home. Then, once the projects are finished, they could bring them in, and we could help decorate the school with their finished projects.
Good evening. My name is Lila O'Sullivan. We are here tonight to ask for your support. Making individual changes is just not enough. We need your help to solve this problem. You have the power to bring recycling back to North Shore. You have the power to eliminate plastic waste from our cafeterias. So what are we asking from you? We have seen that other schools are starting to change. Just last year, the superintendent of Montauk Public Schools put a ban on buying plastic straws. And guess what? They survived. We don't need straws. And on top of that, Montauk saved money by eliminating straws. In Minnesota, a middle school made a different change. They moved to stainless steel silverware. And even though they spent money, they prevented nearly 7,000 pounds of trash and estimated saving about $23,000 over a course of 3 years. We can stop buying straws. We can use paper cups instead of plastic. We can move to stainless steel silverware. But to stop dreaming and start acting, we need you on our side.
Hello, my name is Lorenzo Ricciuti. At Glenwood Landing School, we are taking steps to make our school kinder to our environment. We have been doing various things to educate our school community, like giving presentations and surveying students. We are also trying to eliminating wipes and straws from our cafeteria. Furthermore, we are looking to switch to a more sustainable alternative. With your help, we are planning to have recycling bins at our school by the fall of 2018. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ariane Vera. I am a student at Seacliff School. We are generating too much paper and plastic waste at North Shore schools. As students, we are trying our best to reduce this amount of waste, but this is not enough. As students, we need to find a responsible way to process our recyclable waste. We need your help. We are asking the Board of Education to help secure funding for a recycling program at North Shore schools. We hope you see how important it is to reduce and recycle waste at North Shore schools and support our green initiative. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you very much. You have certainly given us a tremendous amount to think about. all of you. The research that you've done, I wrote down some words about what you were teaching us, and I'm impressed by your passion and by the research that you did. You went through the trash, you found out what was there, you told us what was there. I am incredibly impressed with all of you. You've given us quite a bit to think about, and I think we already know that we want to do this, and we're so happy that you want to do this as well, and that you understand these changes. And I'm going to pass it on to Dr. Gerizzo for his thoughts and plans.
Is there anybody, other members of the board before I start? No? Okay. So we've talked a couple of times about this, guys, right? And I think I want to tell you, you guys did an amazing job today. I'm so proud of you. You were prepared, and you were well-spoken, and you were well-researched, and you came here with a purpose, and I want to tell you that you did that very, very well. Where's Lorenzo? Where's your bow tie tonight? No? Did you have soccer? Yeah, okay. All right. So we have to, so the next step in this journey, I gave you guys some research to do, right? So I had you look up some organizations that could help us to put programs in place to monitor our waste use and then make a plan to reduce it. So I think the next step before we go on to the summer break is for us to all get back together again, talk about what we've learned. I think it's going to be important for us to talk about what we achieved here tonight, and then make a plan, because over the summer we do so much work, right? And I want to be able to make sure that when you guys come back to school in September, that the efforts that you've made and the research that you have taken have actually yielded a difference. Okay, so I want you to be really proud of yourself. You worked really hard, and I think it will lead to a very good result, because you are absolutely right. In 2018, we need to be recycling. It's the law.
I also want to say I'm particularly impressed that you didn't come back with just one solution, that you provided many solutions, things that we can do to help you as leaders in your schools, but also things that you can do as individuals that you can teach every student in our district to do. You have a couple of high schoolers here, and I'm sure they heard what you had to say, and you gave everybody some options on how we can all contribute to contributing less, right? That's what we want to do. We want to create less, we want to reuse, and I'm really quite impressed, so thank you. Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you all very, very much, guys. Yeah, and just one thing, and perhaps everybody's listening, right? So perhaps you guys will come back. We'll come back to the board maybe in October or November, and we'll talk about how this work has led to a different result. Fair? Now, some of you are going to be at the middle school. Yeah? So I know where to find you. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Gonna say something?
Thank you. No, I was going to say, are we going to move on to do presentations? The awards
I think so.
next?
No, we have world language.
Okay, and then we're going to do the awards after.
Correct.
Okay. And then
All right.
we have a special guest to do the SGO this evening as well.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Welcome, John. All right, so if you guys are welcome to stay, but if you have some homework to do, or you're tired, or whatever, we won't be insulted if you...
But I do encourage you all just to at least stay through the world language and through seeing some of our upperclassmen get awards and recognition, because you soon will all be upperclassmen as well. So it's nice for you to see what's happening in the high schools also. So if you want to stay, it'll be just probably another 15, 20 minutes.
Not that much longer.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to shift gears to the World Language Department. Sagar, there you are. So when we got the request to honor and celebrate and recognize students in our languages at the high school level, I got to speaking with Anna and said, We have a really terrific language program that starts as early as kindergarten. Is there a way that we can spend some time at a board meeting showing the board and the community how this all works? And so here we are.
Thank you.
very
Good
much.
evening. And thank you for having us join you this evening. Our students are here very excited to share some of their world language experiences, but I have to say I think they're a little bit more excited about teaching you a word or two in the language that they're studying. So we're living in an increasingly globalized society that presents a new set of challenges. But along with those challenges come opportunities. So we at North Shore Schools are preparing our students to compete and collaborate successfully by giving them the language tools and the cultural competence necessary in today's global society. Interacting with people from various countries and cultures is more commonplace than ever before in our connected world. So, what do we do? What do we say? Should I shake your hand? Do I give you a kiss on one cheek, on the other? Do I give you space? Our students must be able to communicate in a culturally appropriate manner with people from around the world. With today's ever-increasing diversity in the classroom, in the workplace, in our community, it is crucial that our students have a greater understanding of the cultural background of those around them and learn to respect diverse cultures. So language learning helps to bridge the gap between cultures. It brings an understanding to those cultures' perspectives, the why, the values, the attitudes, and the beliefs of that culture. So communication and cultural competence are at the core of what we do with our students. It is the heart of our work. The purpose for learning a language is to communicate, to convey a message, and also to understand and interpret what is being heard, what is being read, and what is being spoken. So a very powerful quote from Nelson Mandela says, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart." The language we speak is a symbol of cultural and personal identity. One makes connections when talking to people in their own native language. By doing this, you're acknowledging that person and you're seeing him or her as important by making an effort to speak to them in the language they hold dear, in the language they dream in. So, in addition to cultural competence, what is the goal of our students when it comes to their language skills? We want our students to be proficient in the language. And proficiency is the ability to communicate in another language in a meaningful way. And there's a progression in the communication skills that from very basic ability, which is the novice level, to a much more sophisticated ability, which is the superior level. So our students build their capacity to use and create language spontaneously in real-life scenarios using the three modes of communication. Interpersonal, where they speak to one another. Presentational, where they present in writing or spoken language. And interpretive, when they're listening or reading for understanding. So tonight, our students are very excited to demonstrate some of their communication skills with you, and hopefully you will learn a word or two in the different languages we have. So I'd like to welcome the elementary Mandarin students up.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, friends and family from the community, my name is David Schultz. I'm the Mandarin teacher at Seacliff, and here we have marvelous Mandarin learners from 3 schools to teach you a lesson on Shui Guo. You will find out what Shui Guo is momentarily. First, we have two 老师 What's 老师？胡思明和菲菲。
Hu Tao.
Hu Tao.
Hu Tao. Hu Tao. Hu Tao.
Please hold on to this. Hu Tao.
Hu Tao.
Lee.
Lee. Lee.
Please hold on to this.
Li.
Shen Zhao.
Shen Zhao.
Shen Zhao.
Shen Zhao.
Shang Zhao.
Shang Zhao.
Hello. Please hold on to this.
Thank you.
Shang Zhao.
Xiang Chao.
Shui Hua.
Shui Gua.
Xi Hua.
Xi Gua.
Xi Hua.
Xi Gua.
Xi Hua. Changzi.
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 That's a hard one.
Changzi.
Changzi.
Hello.
Tao
Tao
Mei.
Mei.
Tao
Tao Mei.
Tao
Tao Mei. Tao Mei.
Tao Mei. Please hold on to this. Pinghua.
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 Hello. Please hold on to this. Pinghua.
Pinghua.
Have you ever read The Very Hungry Caterpillar?
Yes.
Have you ever read The Very Hungry Caterpillar in Mandarin?
No.
I have not. Awesome.
Hi, my name is Cole. Hi, my name is Matt. We are Glenwood Landing Kindergarten.
很久很久以前，有一个有一天，蛋跑出来一条，毛虫说：“
我饿了，我要吃苹果。”
毛毛虫要去睡觉了。第二天，毛毛虫醒了，毛毛虫出来了。毛毛虫说：“
我饿了。我想山脚，谢谢。
吃饱了，毛毛虫要去睡觉了。 出来了。毛毛虫说：“
我饿了，我要吃葡萄。”
毛毛虫吃饱了，毛毛虫要去睡觉了，睡觉了，睡觉了。呼呼大睡，呼呼大睡。第4天，毛毛虫出来了。毛毛虫说：“
我饿了，我饿了，我要吃梨。”
毛毛虫吃了很多水果，毛毛虫变得很
大，
很
大，很大。
它变成一条大毛毛虫了。大毛毛虫说：“我
饿了，我饿了，我要吃草莓。”
大毛毛虫饱了，大毛毛虫要睡觉了。呼呼大睡，呼呼大睡。第6天，毛毛虫出来了。毛毛虫说：“
我饿了，我要吃橙子。”
橙子。大毛毛虫饱了，大毛毛虫去睡觉了。呼呼大睡，呼呼大睡。第6天，毛毛虫出来了。
我饿了，我饿了，我要吃西瓜。
这一次，毛毛虫睡了很久很久，呼呼大睡，呼呼大睡。但是毛毛虫醒了，它不是毛毛虫了，它变成一只，蝴蝶了。来。
我要吃草莓，我饿了，我饿了，我饿了，我饿了，我要
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to collect the fruits.
Okay.
Lee?
Shangjiao.
Shikwa.
Taomei.
Changsu.
Hu Tao.
There goes my snack.
Pingwa.
Shisha. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, buenas noches. Now is our turn to present our special performance for you and to show you what our fifth graders know so far. So we're going to set up a little bit the stage, and we have Carla who wants to introduce the first part of our performance.
Hola, me llamo Carla. Students as effective communicators use languages to engage in meaningful conversation, to understand and interpret spoken language and written text, and to present information, concepts, and ideas. In addition, we learn about the culture we study. We can compare many things to our own culture. For example, Dia de los Muertos in Mexico can compare to Halloween in the US, and eating different foods like empanadas in Colombia can be compared to eating a hamburger in the US. Talking about empanadas, today we would like to demonstrate how to order food in a Spanish restaurant. Gracias por su atención. Thank you for your attention.
Hola, yo me llamo Pablo. Hola, yo me llamo Violeta. Okay, are you ready to learn some Spanish? We're going to teach you some words so that you can better understand our next skit. Repeat after us. Me gusta.
Me gusta.
No me gusta. Me encanta.
Me encanta.
Yo no sé.
Yo no sé.
Yo no sé.
Comer.
Comer.
Tomar o beber.
Tomar. Beber.
Violeta, ¿te gusta comer la ensalada? Me encanta. ¿Te gusta tomar la leche? Guácala, no me gusta. Okay, now it's your turn. ¿Te gusta comer la pasta? Me gusta,
Sí, me
no
gusta
me
la
gusta,
pasta.
me encanta, no sé.
Me gusta.
¿Te gusta beber agua?
Sí.
Sí.
Me
Me gusta.
¿Te gusta comer el sancocho colombiano? No sé.
Yo no sé.
¿Te gusta beber la limonada?
Sí, me gusta la limonada.
Muy bien, now you're ready for a skit. Luces, cámara, acción.
me llamo Griselda, soy tu mesera. Hola, necesito el menú, por favor. Sí. Yo también, por favor. Sí. Tengo mucha tarea. Sí. Mucho matemáticas. Sí. Gracias. De nada. ¿Y para tomar? ¿Puedo tomar la jugo de naranja, por favor? Sí. ¿Puedo tomar la leche, por favor? Sí. No me gusta la leche. Sí, tengo mucho sed. ¿Jugo de naranja? Gracias. De nada. ¿Y para comer? ¿Puedo comer empanadas con carne, por favor? Sí. ¿Puedo comer la pizza con piña, por favor? Sí. Un momento. Me encanta la pizza. No me gusta. Buen provecho. Gracias. Guácala, no me gusta para nada. Lo siento. ¿Algo más? ¿Puedo comer las galletas, por favor? Sí. ¿Puedo comer uno expreso con mucho espuma? Sí. Guácala. Espuma. Muy chocolate y muy espuma. Gracias. De nada. Delicioso. Qué rico. Mesera, la cuenta. Aquí está. Aquí está 20 pesos. 2 pesos para la propina. Gracias. Besítelos de nuevo. Adiós.
Okay. Really quickly, I just want to introduce the middle school students now who are going to talk about how the North Shore SVOs have impacted their language learning. Whether it be from communicators, thinkers, problem solvers, they've found out that learning a language has helped them in other subjects and other life situations, and they're going to explain to you how.
My name is Mia Krakow.
And my name is Kate Gilliam.
And we are 8th grade students at North Shore Middle School. We take French. In French, although raw vocabulary has great significance, we are able to apply it to everyday situations that simulate real-life experiences.
For example, we had been learning about transportation in French. I happened to be buying a new MetroCard in the city, and there was a French-speaking family standing in front of me. I heard expressions like "Je prends une metro." I was able to understand what they were discussing. It was very eye-opening to see how we were able to apply what we were learning in class to real life.
In school, as we are taught more about English as a language, we are taught more about the mechanics we so often overlook, such as conjugating verbs. In French, we are taught the translation and then the conjugations. But in English, we are subconsciously conjugating words all the time. For example, the verb avoir, which means to have. In French, you say tu as, which means you have. In French and English, you're conjugating verbs all the time.
To sum it all up, learning French has not only broadened our horizons beyond our own language, but it has also helped us gain knowledge about the language we have been exposed to since birth. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Katie.
And I'm Jessica.
We take Italian. My family is from Italy, and although we are Americanized, my family and especially my grandma have always tried to keep parts of Italian tradition alive. For example, we have Sunday dinner very often, and we eat fish on Christmas Eve. By learning Italian, I've got to keep alive another part of my culture, because I get to speak Italian with my grandma. It's also very amazing to think that the words and expressions that I am learning are the same words and expressions my family grew up with in Italy. I'm better able to understand why my grandma tries to keep up like Sunday dinners are part of our culture when we learn expressions in Italian class like La familia mangia insieme, the family eats together, because that's a very important part of Italian culture, which Italian class has helped me appreciate.
My family is also Italian, and my grandparents constantly used Italian in front of me. I knew the basic meaning of the words, but I never really understood how to use them properly. After learning this language through middle school, I now know how to connect with more family members and Italian people in general. When my nonna uses phrases like lasciala ire, which means leave her alone, it always makes me laugh now that I finally understand what she means. Also, when my nonna constantly tells me mangia mangia, not only does my nonna respond, but I finally know what to say back to him, like no, non ho fame, which means I'm not hungry. Or sometimes he'll even say mi piace il vino, ti piace il vino at dinner, which means I like wine, do you like wine? Now that I know how to start a conversation with him, I can finally have fun with the language because of the many topics I've learned, such as food, verbs, liking, and health. I can put them into my own sentences for everyday life, and it's been easier for me to actually speak without pausing. Thank you.
My name is Sarah.
And my name is Jack.
And Jack and I are 8th graders who have been studying Latin since 6th grade, and we'd like to briefly explain some of the things we've learned.
Studying Latin provides a basis for future academic studies. For example, learning a Romance language later in high school or college will be easier as Latin has a foundation.
Latin gives us many root words, stems, prefixes, and derivatives. One Latin word can be used to build numerous English words. For example, the adjective malus means bad and gives us such words as malicious, malevolent, malefactor, malformed, malware, etc.
A study of Latin includes the culture, geography, and ethnicities of the Roman Empire, which was the world's first truly multicultural society. Many different ethnic groups speaking different languages were united by Rome.
Latin also teaches us various myths that offer life lessons and moral choices. For example, the myth of Niobe provides a warning against arrogance and urges us to avoid arrogant behavior and its consequences. Niobe was a powerful queen whose pride and hubris offended the gods and resulted in the deaths of her 14 children. Thank you.
I'm Emma.
And I'm Matt Rodriguez.
And we both take Spanish. Because we learn Spanish every day for 40 minutes, we have come to realize that this new language has developed its way into our own lives.
An example of this is sometimes I automatically start to speak or write in Spanish without having to think twice. For instance, when I was writing my research essay in English, instead of writing because, I wrote porque. This is because we elaborate on our ideas in Spanish class. In our health unit, we learn about the benefits of healthy foods and nutrients. For example, la vitamina C es buena para los ojos porque es necesario para ver.
Learning a second language has also helped me understand conversations going on around me that are spoken in Spanish. 2 weeks ago, I was playing in a soccer game, and the team I was versing only spoke Spanish. They would say things like 25, which meant jersey number 25, or vámonos, which means let's go, and usa tu cuerpo, which means use your body.
In Spanish class, we use context clues to understand the meaning of words. Every Monday, we get an inspirational quote. An example of using the context clues was using the word suficiente, which we know sounds like sufficient, which means enough.
Thank you.
Dajiahao. Hello everyone, I'm Maddie and this is Ruben. One thing we do in Mandarin class is to learn about the Chinese culture through learning the language. When you travel to China, if you want to buy something, you have to bargain to get the best price on it. If you don't bargain, you may be paying more for your ignorance than the thing you want to buy.
A popular phrase used in China when bargaining is tai guila. You guys try.
Say again.
When you say this, you need more passion because it means too expensive. Like this, Taiguela.
Taiguela.
Hen how. Now we will show you how we bargain with Miss Lee in the unit project.
猜对了，猜对了，给你点吧。
我给你230，好吗？
真的，再见，我要回家。好的，谢谢。
Good evening. My name is Ethan Barron, and I'm here with the three Santucci's to talk about our experiences in the world language programs through 6th grade to 12th grade. I've been studying Spanish. It's given me numerous opportunities to experience and understand cultures from around the world, especially in our neighboring countries, through curriculums that are specifically structured and created with the ideas in mind that we could both understand and embrace cultures that we haven't really been acquainted with in our local communities. This has been done through the curriculum as well as through various experiential learning programs. In the past 2 years, my fellow peers and I traveled around the world to different countries. I went to Spain along with 22 other students. We went and stayed with families in Alicante, and we're fully immersed in a different culture that was very different from ours. So it gave us an opportunity both to understand and improve our language speaking skills, and also to both improve and further our understandings of different cultures. It's also done in the classrooms through, this year we studied racism and discrimination in Latin American countries, and a wealth of other units that have helped us to understand the cultures that are different from ours. And it really translates to, not just now, to my life outside of school. Like when I went to go and visit a college in DC, I was flying with my dad, and a flight attendant came up to me and asked me if I spoke Spanish. So I helped to translate to an unaccompanied minor that was sitting across the aisle from me. She had no idea what to do. She spoke not a word of English, and I helped the flight attendant completely translate all the directions for the flight to this young girl that was completely overwhelmed. These experiences, combined with how I want to minor in Spanish in college, I hope my teachers would be impressed with that, have really opened my mind and allowed me and my other classmates to understand and embrace these different cultures in a way that I never would have thought possible without taking these world language courses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buonasera a tutti. Good evening, everyone. I'm Olivia Santucci with my sister Lauren and my brother Michael, and we're all seniors in the high school. First, we would like to thank the Foreign Language Department and the Board of Education for providing us with the opportunity to study a language, as we feel it has positively impacted our learning. We have been studying Italian since the 6th grade, where we chose it simply because our family originated from Italy. However, as we got older and our knowledge of the Italian language and culture grew, we discovered how important it really is to learn a new language.
Through our exploration of the language in the classroom, we were exposed to many different aspects of the Italian culture and customs and traditions, and we were also able to learn more about Italian history and discuss more about current events that are going on in the country. And the knowledge we have obtained through learning Italian has inspired us to dig deeper into our own heritage and family roots. And before we've even took this on, we didn't really know where our traditions came from. But after learning about the various holidays and festivals that go on in Italy, we realized how similar our traditions were to those who reside in Italy.
And from a global perspective, we all have become more well-rounded individuals because of this foreign language program, as we're now able to communicate with plenty of other people from different parts of the world. And now, as the three of us and many other seniors move on to the next chapter of our lives, we plan to continue to broaden our perspectives by learning about many other additional languages and cultures at college. And, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our students and teachers for sharing their passion tonight for languages. To the parents who patiently practice these skills with them at home, and to the Board of Education, the superintendent, the assistant superintendents for supporting our program in raising globally minded students. I would like to leave you with this final quote. Through learning language, we learn about culture. Through learning about culture, we learn respect for others. Through learning respect for others, we can hope for peace. Thank you.
So we have one last part of the language program, which is that we're going to do the national language exam medalists
So
first.
we can do all the student recognition if you want. Or do you want to just do the
But let's do all the student recognition. I just didn't want everyone to leave before we did the student recognition.
We have cool pens for you.
Okay. So we're going to do this a little different this time. We're going to call each of your names per language. We're going to hold our applause, have all the students come up. We'll give you your pen and your certificate, and then we'll have one round of applause per language. Oh, yeah, we have one. We're going to do one fifth grader first, not in language.
So we get like a real mic tonight. Okay, here we go. So our first student recognition is for the National Reading Council Young Authors Contest winner, Casey Hart. Where are you, Casey? Okay, so Casey is a fifth grader in the Seacliff School, and every year the Nassau Reading Council runs the Young Authors Contest. Schools from throughout Nassau County enter student-written narrative stories into the contest. The contest is organized by grade level, with winners from every grade. It is very, very competitive. Each school may enter only the best 5 pieces from every grade, and schools from throughout Nassau County submit entries. So imagine how many there are, right? The winners' stories are published in a book that's sent to every school in Nassau County, and your story, Casey, was selected as a winner of this year's Young Authors Contest, and your story will be published in the book. How cool is that? So, Casey's personal narrative was written in class as part of her daily writing workshop. Here at Seacliff, it was not a special assignment, but rather a part of the first unit of the year, during which first graders write personal narratives. So congratulations, awesome job. So we're going to give you a pen.
Congratulations.
Right? And I'm going to give you a certificate. And where are you folks? Thank you. I'm sure they're going to want a picture. Right, turn here. Okay, so yes, so we're going to invite our language teachers up. We'll start with Spanish, please. So before we even get there, I mean, how about, a lot of them have left already, but how about a round of applause for our language program? I mean, that was really unbelievable. I will read the names, yes. Okay, so go ahead.
So we're going to call up each one of your names, have you come stand together, and we'll do one photo and one round of applause together.
All right, great. So the World Languages Department would like to congratulate the students who attained national recognition for excellent performance in the National Language Competition this year. Over 160,000 students compete nationally in multiple languages, and we are really proud to recognize 30 of our North Shore students who earned either a bronze, a silver, or a gold medal. And what's important to note is we praise our students for committing to this rigorous voluntary challenge, and we encourage them to keep up their passion for language learning throughout their lives. Thank you very much.
The key being it is voluntary. These students take this exam each year voluntarily and make this great achievement.
Okay, so Emma Delaski, where are you? Lucia Martin.
Okay, we're going to hold our applause. We're going to have
Okay,
everybody
very
come up and
much.
applaud together.
See ya.
Yeah, why don't we have you line up in the front?
That's great. Kira McCreary. There you go. Congratulations. No Kira tonight?
Nope, she's
Okay.
coming.
Carla Quinones. She can make it.
Okay.
Great. Christine Ramirez. Congratulations. Well done.
I think she's here, either.
Okay. Matthew Rodriguez, silver medal. And Darcy Winter, bronze medal. Congratulations.
Oh, okay. We're going to give you.
Darcy?
You got one? You got one?
Nope. Welcome.
Okay. Is
Okay.
that's
That's
our
it.
Spanish students.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You wanna stand- I'd say stand behind your students, but most of your students are bigger than you. Can you get everybody in there, Charlie? Okay. Oh, we're missing that. Now we'll have our French teachers.
Hello. How are you? Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
It's about as far as it goes. Okay. Right. Okay. Mia Krakow. That's you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mia.
And Lawrence Gemi. Lawrence, right? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's it?
Okay, so we'll stand with
Come on
our
over.
congratulations to our
Okay. You got those?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Natalia.
Natalia Ancona. Italian, silver medal. Only three?
There's only three?
Okay. Julia Capitelli.
Oh yeah, Julia's here. Sorry, Julia's here.
Catherine DeTrano. Congratulations. Nice to see you. Nicholas DeTrano. DeTrano. No. Alexandra Farinaccio. Congratulations. There she comes.
Julia.
Jessica Valencisi. Congratulations. Jessica. Congratulations. And Loretta Wang. No. Christina Wild.
Yep.
Congratulations.
You got one? Bravissima. Congratulations. Here, why don't we move over a little bit so Kelly can get all of this?
Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you.
Guys, want to move over a little? Yep.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Okay, and for our Latin awards, Derek Corpone. Where's Derek? There he is. And John Labate. Congratulations, John. You're welcome. And Izzy Lerman.
Congratulations, Derek. Is Izzy here?
No.
All right, let's get a photo over here. Congratulations to our Latin students.
Oh, that's a smart idea. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
We're going to move from our language to our science program.
This is okay. So I'm going to invite Sanaya Jasani up, and Christina Vasilakis, and Julia McClellan, Anna Lasolik, and Olivia Lamont. Come on up so I can brag about you for a second. All right. Congratulations. Just hang out for a second. Congratulations. Congratulations. And congratulations to you.
Here, come this way so that,
Okay.
and we'll hand you in.
So let me tell you why they're up here. So I want to congratulate our students who competed in the science, who completed science research projects, presented their research at the Long Island Science Congress. These projects were completed before and after school with teachers Mary Alice Kelly at the middle school and Dr. Molly Mordecai at the high school. There were over 800 students from all over Long Island participating in the science fair held at St. Anthony's High School on April 17th. We are really proud of your accomplishments. Did you make boards and all that? Right? Okay, great. And the awards are an honorable mention for the inhibitory effects of ethyl alcohol concentration on the growth of E. coli bacteria. That's Sanaya. Good. She's not here. An award of meritorious for the effects of fertilizer runoff from local golf courses on the amounts of dissolved oxygen levels in Hempstead Harbor. That's really important. Christina Vasilakis and Julia McClellan. Yes? Julia? Okay. An honors trophy for the inhibitory effects of various antibiotics on the growth. Say it again. Escherichia coli and Bacillus cereus bacteria. Anna, well done. Okay.
John volunteered to read it.
Thank you, John. It's like it's part of World Language Night. The natural inhibitory effects of various spices on the growth. Say it again. Escherichia coli and Bacillus cereus bacteria. That's Olivia Lamond. Wow. These are middle schoolers. I think I would. Well done. Congratulations. Great, thank you. Let's go. We'll take a photo. Okay, and so for high school, is Kate Wesley Jones here tonight? Not that you can save.
Okay.
Okay, John Labate and Audrey O'Brien. Just John? And then we have, I'm sorry, Carolyn Schwab, Victoria Pallone, Sarah Moran, Jane Sturge with Julia Toner, and Jack Rosencrantz. Anybody else here?
No.
All right, John.
Just John.
Okay, so John got a high award for high honors for the combination of BCLC and BRD4 targeted therapy agents induces synergistic effects in diffuse large B-cell lymphomas. I could read every one of those words. Thank you. Well done. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do a photo. Yeah. We could. Now.
Okay, and last but certainly not least, is Hannah here tonight? Hannah Leventhal? Hannah, come on up. If things don't work out in whatever you're doing, you could be a superintendent. You're here every month. It's great, right? So what we're here to, Hannah is here on behalf of the Robotics Club, so, who went to the World Championships this year. Who knew? Well, I knew, but maybe you did not. So let me talk to you a little bit about the North Shore Robotics team. RoboGym Robotics spent over 2,000 collective hours designing, prototyping, programming, manufacturing, testing their robot, White, to meet this year's first robotics challenge, First Power Up. The students, alongside engineers, teachers, and mentors, created unique solutions to complex problems. Their commitment and dedication were rewarded with success in both their regional events. They made it to the quarterfinals out of 54 teams and won the Regional Spirit Award. Those were just a couple of the highlights. Your hard work paid off with a win of a wild card spot to get yourselves to the national championships in Detroit, Michigan. You were there among the best teams in the world, and you competed hard. I was watching you from my office live streaming. You brought back lessons learned from top teams, engineers, and teachers in the field. They are already meeting to complete off-season projects and skill-building workshops, and Hannah Leventhal, team captain, is here to accept certificates and pens on behalf of all of her teammates. Congratulations. That is quite an accomplishment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're going to move up the SGO. Okay. Yeah, we're going to, I don't really think we need a motion. I think we could just move up the SGO. All right, we'll make a motion. Thank you. We have a motion to move up and a second. All in favor of moving the SGO report up to do now. Okay. If you could introduce yourself first, please, and tell us why you're here.
Okay. Well, as you probably know, I'm John Labate by now. Sorry for reading off my phone, but this is how we do stuff at the high school. So I'm here. I'm the junior class president, along with Michael Albanese. I'm here on behalf of Lindsay Golden and Emily Biolsi, who are the SGO presidents for this year. I'm actually conveniently here, as next year I will be SGO president myself, so you'll be seeing a lot more of me, along with Michael Albanese, who will be here as well, hopefully. So I'm not sure how much Lindsay and Emily covered in the last meeting, but I'll just go off of some of what Emily sent me. The ending of spring sports and the sports seasons all together, the girls lacrosse team made it to the semifinals game and they lost by 1 goal, and the track won all county, as they do pretty much every single year. It was actually most other teams made it to the playoffs. Like I know baseball made it to the playoffs. They lost to Wantagh in the first round, I believe. That's pretty much my knowledge of baseball. But next is the CASA meeting. Emily and Lindsay had met with Miss Joanna Commander in the last few weeks to get CASA more involved in the school. This is something that is just beginning this year, but it's going to be, I think, have a much bigger part next year. It's something that I know I personally want to bring to the school, so hopefully that can take place over the next few months. And Emily also wanted there to be a student board with a representative from every club for CASA. So I think reaching out to her would be better than talking to me about that for right now. Moving on from there, the elections for next year's class officers took place on Wednesday, and tomorrow at Moving Up Day, the winners of those will be announced. So I don't know who won this, but tomorrow is Moving Up Day, and if you don't know what Moving Up Day is, it's basically a ceremony celebrating the end of the school year and the progression of all the grades into the next level and the seniors on to their future ambitions. The seniors will be singing a goodbye song, and the juniors will be singing a response, and awards will be given out. The yearbook dedication and the yearbook itself will be released, and all the students really look forward to this day. All the class officers will be speaking, including myself. So it's a great thing for all the parents and teachers to come see. I really recommend that you come by. It's in the gym tomorrow. I think it starts at 1.
12:30.
12:30, my bad. I should probably know that. Seniors and finals, the last day of classes is in a week from today, and which means that the seniors who are not invited to the last day of classes have their senior breakfast on Wednesday. And so that also means that Regents and final exams will be taking place in the next few weeks. There have been a lot of Regents review classes going on. All the APs and IBs have taken place over the past few weeks, which I think that we are going to have more dozens of IB diploma candidates this year, but we will see that in the summer. There was also an acoustic cafe that I performed in, and I know Emily performed in, where students got to perform in groups or solo. It was in the courtyard about a week ago, and it was a really nice night where everyone got to sit back, relax, and listen to some music. So I think that's pretty much it for what happened over the past few weeks.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on for the regular business. Oh, we didn't do that, did we?
No.
We didn't do that. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is, oh boy, I thought we were on the second page already. We're at the approval of the minutes for the May 3rd meeting, 2018. Could I have a motion? Motion. And I have a second. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor? Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the treasurer's report.
Can we split them?
Sure. We'll do the March 1st to March 31st, 2018. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And I have a second. Comments or questions? All in favor? Then we have April 1, 2018 through April 30th, 2018. Could I have a motion? And a second? Second. And I have a second. Comments or questions?
Yes, 2, please.
Uh-huh.
I had emailed earlier because there was an item on the April Treasurer's Report. The Nassau County was reimbursing us for TPSE expenses, and it said from 15-16.
Wow.
So I had inquired with Olivia about what that was, and was it really from 15-16 school year? And she said, absolutely it was. Do you want to tell them that?
Yeah, the state approves all preschool special education expenses are paid by the county. The administrative component of it is reimbursed when we file our financial report, the ST3, and then what is called all the data regarding enrollment and finances. What they do is that they wait until, because there's always adjustment going on with the financial report, so they don't go in and reimburse you immediately. They wait until all the ST3, which is the financial report, are audited before they capture the amount that you spend and then reimburse you. First, the state will tell you whether you are getting the reimbursement. They send us the letter, then we send a claim form to the county. We sent the claim form last February. We just got the money, and it's for 15 seasons. So there's about 2 years lag before we get the money every year.
So I thought you guys would all enjoy hearing that story.
Yeah,
Thank you. Okay.
The other thing is the April report did not have the copies of from the bank statements with the balances attached.
We do that every quarter. So
Because
it will be
March
March.
had it.
Yes,
Okay.
it was in March.
It was in
You
March.
see it in June, September, December, March.
Yeah, because March did have it. Okay.
Okay. So all in favor of April 1 to April 30th? All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Olivia. Now we're going to move on to the proposed repair reserve fund expenditure. How this is going to work is Dr. Drizzo is going to tell us a little bit about it. We're going to have a hearing portion. Then there will be a small portion time where we will take comments from the public only about these two hearing portions. And then we will take action by taking a vote on these two individual items. So it's the approval of a resolution, determination of a type 2 action, and approval of resolution to expend funds from the repair reserve. So Dr. Drizzo, if you'd just like to talk briefly about each one.
Sure. So the first resolution is the SECRA environmental impact statement, which is a type 2 action. Which is a low-impact action. What we're looking to do here is use $109,553 from the repair reserve that's been set aside to repair identified windows at Glen Head, Glenwood Landing, Seacliff, and repair the ceiling at the North Shore High School cafeteria courtyard. So what this money involves is the removal and proper disposal of the window balances, purchase and installation of new window balances and materials to render the windows operational. This has to do with putting balances in there so windows don't come crashing down. It includes the funding for removal of regulated building materials like asbestos or lead in connection with the ceiling, and metalwork and other such areas requiring remediation, and purchasing and installing of materials including paint to encapsulate regulated building materials. So this is doing a lot of window repairs and a ceiling. And the reason why we have to have a hearing this evening is in order to access funds in that reserve, there has to be a publicly noticed hearing in order for the board to authorize the use of those funds. So with that, we can take any questions.
Okay. So we can take any questions from the board as well as
Absolutely.
then from the public.
Absolutely.
So board trustees, do you have questions? Anyone? Okay, so we open it up to the public. Don't come rushing at once. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, let's take action. So could I have a motion?
Motion.
Oh, and I have lots of seconds. Okay, any comments? All in favor? All right, thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to the report of the superintendent. Oh, we have to take them twice?
Well, there's two separate resolutions. We have to do one for the secret.
I know, yeah, no, I know there's two. I just thought we could do it together. Okay, we'll do.
You could, but you didn't say you were going to do that.
I hear you. Okay, so that was the first one, the approval of the resolution to determine the type 2 action. Now we'll do it for the approval of the resolution to expend funds from the repair reserve. Could I have a motion? And I have a second. Comments? All in favor? Okay. Now we'll move to the report of the superintendent.
Okay, very good. So it's been a month since we've been together, so I've got a little bit to share with you. This is a busy night. I think the busiest one since we've at least been together in 8 months. I would like to take a moment to congratulate the board on the successful passage of the 2018-19 budget. I appreciate the confidence the community has shown us in the vote, and I say it over and over again, but we really do not take it for granted, and we'll continue to work hard for your support and your confidence. I extend a sincere welcome to Mr. Madden and Mrs. Vizza, who will be joining the board in July. I look forward to working with you both. Note on the end of the year, it's always one of the busiest times of the year. We balance wrapping up the academic year, gearing up for a new one, all at the same time. And what is kind of exciting about what happens at this time of year is you'll start to see the various work around the district will begin to look a little less isolated than it may have looked several months ago. And you'll start to see how it is really part of a broader body of work. It's fairly exciting to watch that all come together. The other really terrific part of this part of the year is all of the formal celebrations, all the recognitions that happen over the course of our final months. At our next board meeting, June 14, we'll spend time honoring our retirees, including Tony Labate and Herman Berliner, and celebrating our tenure candidates as well. As you've seen tonight, we have truly amazing students who embody our shared valued outcomes, and as a follow-up, I will continue working with the students and the facility staff to reduce our waste, recycle more, and overall reduce our carbon footprint in the district. It's really important to them, it's really important to me, and I want to thank our school-wide enrichment team for facilitating this work. I also want to thank Anna Aguiar, who is here tonight, and our FLES team. That was so much fun. And all of our very talented students for the good work in demonstrating that very essential strand of communication through our K-12 language program. Tonight, I'm really pleased to recommend the appointment of 2 key administrators in our school district. Chris Marino joined the North Shore Schools in 2011 as the Assistant Director of Special Education at the secondary level. He was one of 50 candidates who applied for the position, and in addition to 2 interviews with me, he met with 4 committees of parents, teachers, administrators, and I recommend him to the board without reservation. Over the course of his many years in the district, he has worked to build strong relationships, been a conscientious, relatable member of the administrative team, and most importantly, a fierce advocate for students with special needs. He has served as the interim director this year, and I've gotten to know him very, very well. I look forward to supporting your work and your growth. I was a director of special education a long time ago, so I understand the complexities of the role, the integral nature that this person plays in the entire organization, and Chris will be a welcomed member of the administrative team, and I look forward to the ideas that he has to elevate outcomes, expectations, and communication with the entire North Shore special education community. I'm also pleased to recommend Mr. Brendan Harris to the position of Assistant Harris Nelson. Thank you. Thank you. Going to stick with Brendan. So I'm pleased to recommend Mr. Brendan Nelson to the position of Assistant Principal at North Shore Middle School. Brendan joins us from Great Neck, where he is a guidance counselor at Great Neck North Middle School. He joins us at a very unique time in our evolution, and the skills that he possesses are precisely the ones we set out to find in a candidate. Brendan appreciates and values the need for a strong academic program that is balanced with strong social emotional supports for our middle-level learners, who, as you know, if you have one or have had one, they have a lot going on. His vast experience with master scheduling, instructional support, restorative justice, and other programs aimed at establishing equitable conditions for all students is noteworthy, and it is impressive. Brendan was one of 386 applicants for the position. He participated in a very rigorous process that included now 7 interviews, a full day on site with Mr. Dennis, meeting with key students and teachers. I am excited about your partnership together, your leadership in the direction that North Shore Middle School is taking, and it is truly an amazing school that just keeps getting better and better and better. So welcome. I wanted to take a moment to update the board and community on our strategic planning work. Since I last updated you, 3 teams have been working to research and develop specific action items intended to move our work forward in social emotional learning, equity for all learners, and best practices in teaching and learning. We're still aiming to make a final report to the board by our 6 co-chairs on June 14th. The work is exciting, it's rigorous, and it will absolutely focus and move the work of the district forward over the next 5 years. We had a superintendent's conference day that started in this room on Friday, and we had planned all year to dedicate this day to social emotional learning, equity, and substance abuse, use and abuse issues. The morning began right in here with Seacliff moms, Antigone Rising, joining us for an amazing discussion with our faculty about empowering women through their Girls Rising initiative. It was really, really cool. Also facilitated by Zoe Mallon, one of our high school seniors. The afternoon was dedicated to workshops for teachers, administrators, and staff to receive training in understanding bias, facilitated by Erase Racism, promoting resilience for our LGBTQ students, minimizing student anxiety, managing complex student behaviors, and prevention of substance abuse. There were also a host of workshops led by our own teachers and administrators covering a wide range of these topics around similar themes. The day was an enormously good use of time, and I want to thank Rob Klabicki for your fine leadership, and to the PDC, the Professional Development Committee, for making it a reality. It was really a very terrific day. The next steps in our equity work will involve the incorporation of specific action steps from the equity study. It's all been referred to the strategic planning teams. Specific action needs to be paid to ensure that gaps are closed for our economically disadvantaged students as well as our Hispanic students. I've done quite a bit of thinking about this over the course of the year, and I've used this year as one of planning and foundational work. So what happens next is we'll be exploring various strategies that will involve our food service program, counseling department, community partnerships, additional and targeted academic supports, staff development, and of course student voice, all intended to identify and ameliorate barriers so that every student has the opportunity to excel here. Very specific action plans will be forthcoming as a component of our goal setting and our strategic planning for 2018-19. Moving on to school safety, I wanted to just make sure everybody, I sent an email out to the community about a week and a half ago or so, but not everybody gets my emails, so a quick update on where we are with safety and security. Our Rave 1 panic button system was installed on our phones, operational. Our walkie-talkie two-way communication system has been implemented throughout the district. We have identified a visitor management system for each of the 5 schools, and we're planning an implementation plan. The ID badge key card system that had already been previously instituted for all faculty and staff. We've identified an anonymous confidential reporting system for students and community members that's been selected. We're in the process of putting the implementation of those together, just so the system that we plan to recommend forward is See Something, Say Something. It's a free resource out of the Sandy Hook Promise, and we're looking to implement Scholarship as the visitor management system. Our Homeland Security Threat Assessment reports, they're all in the process of being completed by Nassau County Police Department. As you can likely imagine, they are overwhelmed with requests to get this done, so they're all in various stages of completion, but they are not, we don't have the assessment reports for all 7 sites yet. The external safety audit by Altaris is in its final stages, and we'll be able to share that soon, or the results of that soon. We're now organizing those recommendations into short and medium and long-term implementation items so we can plan accordingly. All of the exterior doors at schools will continue to be locked throughout the day, and we have a single point of entry identified for each of the schools. These are staffed with security personnel cameras and live view software. We're also looking at assessing our security personnel. We have somebody at all of our doors, and we're looking to make sure that they are covered throughout the day and into the evening. And then we are also a central part of our strategic plan, and our work as administrators and educators is to promote wellness of our student body. So all of these brick and mortar things can be put into place, but we also need to be paying attention to the wellness of our students and making sure that they're equipped. What will happen next is, once those reports are finalized, we will, bring everything forward. On June 25th, we have a superintendent's conference day to make up that fourth snow day, and we will be training our faculty and staff on safety protocols and active shooter drills and how to keep themselves and others safe in an emergency. If for those who have been watching the news, you saw that tragic bus accident in New Jersey, which was really very, very sad and unavoidable. So I wanted to make sure I'd spent a minute or two just making sure the community and the board understood what steps that we take as a district to with regard to our bus drivers. So safety of our kids begins with the moment they step on the bus, and we take it very seriously. The driver in New Jersey that had collided with that dump truck had at least 16 traffic violations and his license suspended 14 times. And so that just can't be okay. When we hire a new driver, the transportation department runs a DMV abstract on the driver. The abstract shows the driver's class of driving when they obtain their CDL license, any accidents, convictions, withdrawals, permits, license restrictions, all other activities. This is then reviewed by the supervisor of transportation as well as the two bus dispatchers. The report's downloaded. It's reviewed with each driver every year. Drivers are also required to immediately notify the office of any accidents and/or parking violations that may occur in district as well as in their own personal vehicles. We receive nightly notifications from both the bus driver certification unit and the license monitor regarding all North Shore School bus driver licenses, and that report is reviewed daily by the transportation office. We engage in random drug and alcohol testing. So the New York State Department of Motor Vehicle provides a list of drivers who must be randomly drug and alcohol tested on an ongoing basis, and that test is conducted on site at our bus depot by a vendor hired by the district. Any employee who's found to be positive is brought up on charges, and daily each driver is handed his or her keys before their run, and each driver is required to return their keys to the office after each run. This interaction allows the supervisor and dispatchers to visually observe the condition of each driver before each trip. If it is determined that a driver is fatigued, he or she is not permitted to drive. And lastly, on medical clearance, school bus drivers are required to have a physical exam every year. This exam must be conducted by a doctor who's listed in the National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners and cannot be conducted by the driver's personal physician. If necessary, the medical examiner can require additional testing by the school bus driver's personal physician in order to certify the school bus driver. In addition, North Shore School bus drivers are required to recertify their physical after any medical absence other than a short-term cold. So as you can see, we follow a very comprehensive process, and I want to thank Michelle Hall and Olivia Bawazzi for their good attention to detail with regard to our drivers. So that is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you all for your patience.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for that thorough report and for covering many of the things that we're thinking about and seeing in our news daily as well. So we did the report from the SGO. We'll move on to regular business, and we'll start with the discussion of the policy review. Our policy review committee meets throughout the year to review a block of policy each year. I believe that they reviewed from the 0s to the 3 to 1 0. They made recommendations, which each of us have reviewed. So I'd like to put it out there if anybody has any questions or comments from the trustees.
Yeah.
Yes, Dave.
Just one, one very small one, which is the version we saw, which said draft didn't have the revision date until it's adopted. I guess the question almost for Betty. Once we get through it all, it'll have the official revision date as of today. Second.
As of when we accept it.
As of when we adopt it. Correct, the next meeting.
Right.
Sorry.
This is the discussion portion.
Gotcha. So just one thing that we as a board, to make sure everyone is clear, we spent a lot of time this year talking about board protocols, and there were some questions when we met about how we would integrate those, and the recommendation was not to directly integrate the letter of those internal protocols into the document, but to make reference to them as something that we discuss and annually review.
Okay.
And that way we could continue with it as a living document.
Right.
And that's 2160E.
Okay.
And that's what we're discussing, and then we'll approve in 2-ish weeks.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay.
Great.
So that's our
Thank
discussion
you.
point. That will be an action item at the next meeting. Then the next discussion is the veterans tax exemption. This is something that we revisit each year. Do you want to explain it, or do you want to have Olivia?
Olivia's, Olivia, why don't you take this one?
If you recall, in 2014, the board approved the alternative veteran exemption. That one was for veterans who were in active duty, and if you were in a combat zone, you got more exemption. If there was disability, there was even more. Any veteran who was in active duty gets up to 15% of the assessed value, up to 12,000 of their market value waived in taxes. Is an exemption. In addition, if you were in the combat zone, you got an additional 10% of your assessed value up to a full market value of 8,000. So if you were in active duty and you were also in a combat zone, the 12 plus 8 is 20, up to $20,000 in full value. If there is a service-connected disability, if you were disabled during the war, you get an additional 50% of your assessed value, up to a full market value of 40,000.
Okay.
So a veteran could possibly get 60,000. That is the alternative veteran exemption. That is 451A. Then there was the Cold War exemption. Anyone who was in the Cold War, any veteran who fought during the Cold War, that is anyone who was in the war, who was a veteran between September of 1945 to December 26, 1991, they also get an exemption. Okay. This one is in addition to those two that the board has already approved. There is a possibility that most of the veterans who qualify for the eligible fund, which is the memo that we got from Ingerman and Smith, already have the alternative or the Cold War. It's going to be a few, very, very, very few. And it is applicable to veterans who use a certain type of funds to purchase the property.
Okay.
Pensions, dividends, refunds, military pay, matching funds. And matching funds are funds that the federal government had awarded to veterans for them to get them back on their feet. So if you use those specific funds, you can get this exemption. And it's only up to $7,500 of the full market value of the property. Okay. I called the assessor's office to find out whether there's a number of veterans who will particularly qualify for this, and they don't have it yet. Okay. Because most of them do qualify for the alternative as well as the Cold War. Gotcha. So this is really going to, if the board approve it, I don't think there'll be a lot of people. Because the alternative, there are about 317 veterans who qualify for it. The veterans who fought in the combat zone, there's another 163, and disabled veterans, we have about 36. Okay. So it looks like everything is covered, but this is just a loophole for a few people who didn't get the other exemption.
Okay. Thank you. Did trustees have any questions? No? Okay. That concludes the discussion portion of the veterans tax exemption, which will be on our next board agenda
Great.
as an action item.
So-
With a resolution.
With the resolution.
Is that, does that, and that requires a hearing, yes, as well?
Yes.
Yes, it does require a hearing.
All right.
Yeah, and a resolution.
So we'll put all those pieces in motion and be ready on June 14 for that.
Okay. And now we'll move to a report from the Legislative Action Committee. We'll invite the chair, Deborah McDermott.
If you stay late enough, you get the mood lighting.
Yeah. It was killing us. It was really bright. Thank you, Deb. Thank you for coming and giving us the report, and thank you for chairing this year on our Legislative Action Committee.
Thank you for having me here and there as well. I hope you all had an opportunity to get the report that I sent to you. I don't know if you had a chance to review it or not.
It was
It was
hard
in the
copy.
packet.
No.
Oh, it's in this hard copy. Okay.
So I'm just going to briefly summarize it. There are 5 points on the activities this year, and then, if you're willing, a short discussion on recommendations going forward. So this year, the membership in LAC was 11 people, including for the first time ever a student. We've held 7 meetings so far this year. If you want to look at attendance by saying 11 people at 7 meetings would be perfect attendance, that number would be 77. Our actual attendance was 48, which is 62.3% attendance. Our primary accomplishment this year was hosting our second legislative night, moderated by the esteemed Dr. Berliner. Thank you so much. You did a great job that night. We had all of our state and county elected officials here, with the exception of Elaine Phillips, but she did send a statement to be read, so she was somewhat represented there. I didn't count how many people from the public came, but the attendance looked good to me. I don't know, several of you were also there. Thought it looked good. We solicited questions about 6 or 8 weeks in advance from the public. We received lots of questions from the board, from the public, from other LAC members, lots of people, and we collated them and organized them by topic for efficiency and for the use of time, which was good because as it was, we ran way over time. The legislators stayed a half an hour longer. Herman twisted their arm. That was an interesting act. No, they did stay longer, and we still only got to a fraction of the questions. But because they were organized by topic and all written out, we did send them to all the legislators in part of the thank you packet we sent to them, which is important because then they get to see the concerns and point of view of this community, and that's really the purpose of that night, is to continue to advocate for the issues that affect our school. Legislative night. For the past couple of years, North Shore has collaborated with Garden City and Manhasset to form something called Super LAC. Last year, all 3 schools got new superintendents, and we had the biggest lead time. I think Garden City got their news in June. So it wasn't until last month that we had the first Super LAC meeting of this year. I think we'll pick it up again. I think all 3 districts found those meetings very productive and informative. The one meeting that we've had this year, they focused on school safety. And advocating for some legislation that's out there right now to give schools the option of declining when they're asked to be a public polling place. So hopefully we'll pick that up again soon. Finally, appointments for next year. There are 3 current members whose terms are expiring. Actually, 2 people who are expiring and 1 who's going to college, our students. So we have three spots open. That the board will need to advertise and appoint new people for. The LAC will also require a new chair, which the board also interviews for and appoints, and then a secretary, which the chair usually picks out. Does anybody have any questions on any of that so far? All good? All good. So going forward, so LAC was founded around a particular issue, the LIPA decommissioning. And I think that's given it a lot of energy for a long time and served as its model for how it operates. Last year and this year, I've tried to sort of wiggle around in that model a little bit and start to assign people to different roles and try and mature the organization a little bit. I think it needs more direction in that vein. And primarily what I'm thinking about is, so after the 2016 presidential election, a lot of people were interested in talking to their legislators, communicating with them, advocating for things that they're interested in. And a lot of the people who work for those legislators offered advice as to how to best do that. And the two anti-ins on talking to your legislator from these staffers were, one, you need to be a registered voter in that legislator's district, and two, you have to vote. And people in the business can check this information really quickly and do, according to these staffers, that you're registered to vote and that you do actually show up to vote. So that's really important. And if you want to engage in legislative action, you need to have a body of citizens behind you that registered to vote and actually go vote. So we had an election here 16 days ago. And Betty, you correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I did some quick calculations. I think we had 15% of our registered voters come out to vote in that election. And the thing that drops my jaw is 22% of the parents of current students came out to vote in the school election. So I'm offering this point of view so the board can consider perhaps charging LAC in the coming years to maybe do a little bit more work rather than reaching up to our legislators, also reaching out to our community to work on this engagement issue and try to do maybe some events, voter registration, other kinds of awareness issues around the importance of being in the right position to advocate for the things that affect our school district that are bigger than everybody here. I've given you some more specific examples in the report, but I just wanted to bring that out in this discussion right now. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you so much. Lots to think about. So I think based upon that, I think we should add a discussion item. That's what I would recommend, even though I won't be here. A discussion item for LAC. So that we can digest some of this first.
I'd like to, when we have that discussion, make sure that Rich is here because he was also a board liaison.
Sure.
Board, I have some ideas and suggestions also about what we could utilize LAC for more efficiently than we did this year. It really does suffer from a lack of direction on the board. I think we could use them more effectively to communicate with, just as Deb was saying, with the PTOs and with the civics and with other community members to work together, even to find out what the issues are that are concerning them, so that we can present a more integrated front where LAC is reaching out to the communities, the different levels of the schools, to address the issues of concerns that community members have, rather than just the board directing the issues that we've talked about forever, unfunded mandates, all the things that we've spoken about that are of course important, but I think there are other issues that are important to the community that we are not effectively utilizing our LAC to address and to integrate. So if that could be part of the discussion, that would be great.
Herman?
Can I also recommend that we ask Deb to do this again, because to do this report at this point in time with no one here means that to a great extent what she's saying, which is extremely important, isn't being heard. I think we're going to have to rethink how we do this, to do a superintendent's report dealing with critical safety issues, to do the LAC report with, I'm thankful for everyone that's here. Half of the people that are here are really members of the professionals in our school district. This is not a way that we can reach out to the community, and if we have important points to make, we've got to find a better way to make them so that what's really being said is heard. What was being said tonight in terms of LAC, I don't think is heard community-wide. And I would hope that everyone would watch the video, but I'm not sure that that happens. So if Deb was willing and if the board is willing, we should do this again. It's that important a message.
I think that you're correct. I think it would have to be on a future agenda where we would be able, if you're willing, Deb, where we could really, because I think, you know, there is a tremendous amount of information, and you are correct that it's just jaw-dropping, that it is that few parents out voting, which is even jaw-dropping to think about their involvement in the schools as well. It's okay, so I think that we're in agreement with that we do that, yes, trustees? Okay. So again, Deb, thank you. Thank you for your service to the district. Thank you for keeping LAC alive this year. It has been challenging. Super LAC as well. But I did hear good news today. Am I allowed to say that? About the superintendent?
Oh, that's old news.
Oh, it's old news. Okay, well, I guess Garden City I didn't realize it was old news. Garden City they did appoint a permanent superintendent, which is terrific because that will help get Super LAC back going again. So as of next year, our 3 Super LAC communities will each have their permanent superintendents. So that's good news. All right, thank you again.
May I ask when do you want to do the next LAC discussion at the next board meeting, or do you want to put it into?
I don't think we can do it at the next.
That meeting is always.
I know, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
If I can suggest in terms of going forward, and we had talked about this sometime in the past, the award ceremony really should be separated in some way, made even more festive and more congratulatory, because if you have, and the students deserve the recognition, if you have the meeting going on for a long period of time in terms of student recognition, which is essential, by the time we get to the business matters, which are also essential, we have an audience that really doesn't have the numbers that I think are very important given the importance of the topics being discussed. So we should rethink the format.
And I don't really
And
want
Tony and
to.
I will be watching as you do that.
We will, yes.
Thank you.
So good luck with rethinking that format.
I think there's a timing issue with LAC because you have to appoint them over the summer,
But
right?
except that, as Deb points out, the members, it is up to 11 members. It's not that it has to be 11 members. So if we have people cycling off, we do have to appoint a chair. You are correct. But I don't think that we have to appoint members.
I think we need to look at the bylaws because I think there's timing issues. But my point was going to be, we need to appoint members. If we're going to do that, we need to appoint a new chair. And I don't think our reorg meeting, which is always very busy because we have 1 million contracts to approve, is a good meeting to talk about LAC. But what I was going to say is, I think it may be more appropriate to appoint the members and appoint the chair, and then in the fall, have a discussion in September about what the mission is going to be and what it's going to look like when we have it fully staffed, as we want to have it fully staffed, with a chair and with whatever members we want to appoint. It makes more sense to me to do it once you have someone leading the ship than to do it blindly now, having a discussion.
Dave?
Just looking through the recommendations, or I guess the suggestions that Deb put through here, I think one of the key questions is the size of the organization, 11, 5, 7, some other number, and I think that should be part of the board discussion. So while I think leadership of the organization is something that we can determine, or hopefully determine quickly, as it wouldn't be a new person, I would think. I think the board should have a discussion about how we envision it, and whether something more streamlined or something more broad is part of that vision.
It could be a new person for a chairperson. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be a new person. Someone has an interest and wants to come in?
Sarah, did you have a comment?
I was just going to say, I was, to Dave's point, right, that the report brings up the issues of how many members should it be, so it seems like you have to have that discussion, but also just the fact that if you are going to appoint new members, it is by, timing-wise, I don't think it's happening before the reorg meeting anyway, because you have to advertise it, you have to get the applications,
It's
we
not
have to
possible.
interview them, so,
Right.
right.
And
That point is moved.
I mean, I think,
So we might as well have the discussion about what it should be like before.
Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe you have anyone banging down the door to be the chairperson. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. So, so that also is going to be an issue as well.
No, but my point was that I think that we don't really have time in the reorg meeting to have this discussion, a meaningful discussion. So my point is, I don't think we have time until September, really, to have a meaningful discussion. Hopefully by September, we will have at least a new chair to bring into that discussion, right? If you want to talk about size, that's another thing, but I don't see a meaningful discussion about what LAC's mission is before the new year.
Oh, I agree with you.
The new academic year. That was my
I
point.
agree with you, and I don't think, I think I heard that you were thinking that we would appoint a chair at the reorg meeting. I just don't think we'll be
that was not
prepared
what I
for
was
that.
saying.
Okay.
No, that was not what I was saying at all.
So then you will all have to revisit this in the fall.
Right. My point was, let's appoint someone and then have a discussion about it.
Okay. Okay, so it'll be a discussion item in the fall.
Got it.
All right, let's move on. Again, thank you, Deb. Let's move on to the comments from the public. If you'd state your name and town of residence, please.
Hi, Rob Mazzella, Glenhead. Just one thing I would strongly disagree with from what Ms. McDermott was saying was to have the LAC involved in a get out the vote campaign. I think to have a board-appointed body out there campaigning to get people to come out could present an appearance of conflict of interest with the seated board members who might be running for re-election. I think if you want to have a get out the vote campaign, the PTOs, the civics, those are the organizations that you should be reaching out to get something like that accomplished. In that vein, I would hope something that's long overdue, I think, is for the board to have a serious discussion about trustee election reform. I think that over the years has been somewhat nasty and contentious, and I think it's time that we, as a community, look into that. And I would hope the new board would take it upon themselves to address that. Just one thing, just on a personal level, I'd like to thank Trustee President Lavade for her years of service. 6 years has got to be the equivalent of what, at least 30 human years?
Dog years, maybe.
It's not easy. It's always appreciated. Might not always agree with everything you've done, but have always seen that you're genuinely concerned for the children of our district, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm going to call you President Berliner because to me, Herman will always be the school board president. Nobody since I've been coming to these meetings has been more presidential than you. You're a voice of reason, you're a voice of intelligence, you're a calming influence on this board, and I, for one, will truly miss it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to personnel, which is action item D. Could I have a motion? And I have a second. Are there any comments or questions? Okay. All in favor? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, that's it. It's so deflated, right? It's like 2 minutes and it's all over. All right, action item E, which is the acceptance of a grant from the Lowe's Charitable and Education Foundation to the Seacliff Elementary School. Actually, let's take E, F, and G together, which is 3 donations. A big thank you to Lowe's, the North Shore High School PTO, and the North Shore Athletic Booster Club. Could I have a motion for E, F, and G? Motion. And I have a second. Do we have any comments or questions?
Just a quick clarification.
Yes.
This $12.57 from the Booster Club is a portion of the overall contribution that they have pledged for this scoreboard, correct?
That is correct, right, Olivia?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
It's a portion of it, correct.
Super thanks for
Yes,
that.
it's, we definitely need to renew the scoreboard, and the hopes is to have the whole scoreboard working again by the fall. Is that correct?
So in the meantime, we get half the score?
Actually, what you get is like a corner of a number of the score. That's what you get right now. Of one of the, I think it's just the home teams who's
I like that.
That's it.
So big thanks to the Booster Club.
Yes, big thanks. So all in favor of E, F, and G? Thank you. Let's move on to H, which is the approval to dispose of inventory. Could I have a motion? Motion. And a second, please? Second. I have it. Any questions, concerns? All in favor? Action item I, approval of budget transfers. Could I have a motion? Motion. And a second? Second. Okay. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Action item J, approval of agreement with Dr. Monica DeShriver. Am I saying that right? No, not even close? DeShriver, okay. Could I have a motion? And I have a second. Any questions?
These are from Superintendent's Conference Day.
From Superintendent's Conference Day, right?
Why they're being approved after the...
Yes. That is correct. All in favor? Thank you. We'll do action item L, which is the approval of agreement with Jeff Parati. Could I have a motion? Didn't we? Did I skip one? Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I jumped up to K. I'm so sorry. Let's go to K. Approval of agreement with Dr. Dan Guerrera. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? Second. Any questions? All in favor? Then we'll move on to the L, which is the approval of agreement with Jeff Parati. Could I have a motion? Motion. And a second? Second. Questions? All in favor? Action item M, approval of agreement with Yes Community Counseling Center. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Action item N, approval of the health services contracts. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Action item O, the approval of agreement with Savin Engineers. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Action item P, approval of a resolution authorizing the participation in cooperative bids for 2018 and 19. It is quite long. What happened?
It's like for virtually everything.
For everything. Oh, yeah, virtually everything.
Motion.
I have a motion, a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Action item Q, award of general AC ventilation and refrigeration repairs and service cooperative bid. Could I have a motion? And a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor? Action item R, approval of special education services contract. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Questions? All in favor? Action item S, approval of agreement with Long Island neuropsychological consultants. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
And a second? I think. Questions? Yes, Marianne.
How are they selected as our consultants, and do we interview multiple people for that appointment?
I can find out. Exactly the answer. Those are not people I interview and hire. That goes to the special ed department.
We do a joint bid with the quadrant. Manhasset, Roslyn, all the North Shore school districts for all these special services. Sometimes It just happened that we have a unique expertise which doesn't fall within the RFP. We sometimes go outside the RFP, but we always have a joint RFP in place.
So these would be the same consultants that are being used in all the districts for evaluation purposes?
No. Some of those schools do have, because this is a relationship kind of thing, where the provider has to be somebody that the parents also would like and trust. So there's that relationship. It's not something that is based on price. There are all other factors that play into it. If we do the joint RFP, sometimes we do select people that we have, providers that we have used that have been recommended by the department.
So this is for a period of May 1 through June 30th. So are they doing the evaluations for students with potentially special needs?
This is telling me that this is
I know what this is. This is related to an independent education evaluation.
Oh, so this is just one instance?
Correct.
I looked at the period,
Yep.
and I thought it was for the district.
Just
And
one.
they've been on
Just
the
one.
agenda earlier in the year. We had to hire them for something.
Yeah, this is just one evaluation.
Okay, thank you, that clears it up.
You're
for
welcome.
me.
No problem.
Okay, all in favor of action item S? Action item T, approval of special education services. Those are the IEPs. Could I have a motion? And a second? Second. Comments? All in favor? Okay, we'll have another comments from the public section. Okay, and we'll conclude that. We'll move on to old business.
Old business?
Yes.
So there was, I had asked for, and I know you probably don't have it yet, but I just want to remind you, for the data on the students graduating and attendance where they're going to college. The reason why I raised it again is someone made a comment to me, a parent made a comment to me, that there were no graduates from the class of 2018 going to Ivy League schools, which I don't believe that's true.
I don't think that's
So
true
I
either.
think it's important that we get, that data and have it out there.
Okay.
Okay,
I got
Sarah?
some old business. The obligatory American Water update would be that our efforts to join the suit against American Water, that there was a hearing, but that has been stayed until September, so we don't know if we'll be able to join that suit, but we'll continue to do that. And I can't remember if we mentioned at the last meeting or not that New York American Water has now also sued us, as well as
Right.
the county and the town of Oyster Bay.
Correct.
And everyone else, with regard to a claim that their property was assessed incorrectly by the county.
Right.
And so we will have to respond to that.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. We'll move on to, I'm sorry, Dave?
Just one very quick, which is, people have spoken about the softball fields in the middle school.
Yes.
I just want to appreciate and thank Peter for finding a very reasonable resolution, which is to have everyone talk about it, figure out a way to make it work for all, which is happening. The fields of the middle school continue to be swampy, and we
Yeah.
have continued to play games over at the high school, which has been great. So
Great.
thank you.
I'm glad it's
The
working
kids are
out.
happy, and there were at least 20, 25 of them on stage out here today. Like, you see the academic side, but you don't see the purple face paint and all
Yeah.
the rest of it. So
That's great.
That's terrific. I'm glad it's working
That's
out.
good to hear.
It's great.
Thank you.
And
Thank
they're-
you for updating
they're
us on
happy.
that.
Second thing is real quick. We had discussed the RFP process for architectural services and construction management for pre-bond work. I just want to very quickly summarize for the board where we are and also the public that's here as well. We put out these RFPs for pre-bond work, which is not the work. It's for the efforts on behalf of the board to interface with all stakeholders, the community, the administration, et cetera, to understand what the needs are and help us prioritize both for a potential bond and also for strategic planning and understanding where we're going to be long-term with regard to physical plan. So that has gone, that has been underway. There's a subcommittee in place. They have recommended finite number of, I guess, semifinalists for an initial round of interviews, which will be conducted in the coming weeks, I would hope. I think the final round was going to be to wait until next year. So the process would be that the subcommittee would do the first round of interviews, and then the second round would hopefully be a final round, which would be 2 finalists, theoretically, hopefully, for each of the 2 services, would then be conducting a round of interviews, post-reorg meeting, including the new board members. So the people who are going to be working with them are going to be the ones who are going to be helping to evaluate. So that's the goal. We wanted to just open this up to the board. If there's any questions or comments you had, this is a good opportunity to let us know. And otherwise, we're going to proceed. Well, we're going to proceed either way, but with or without a hubby. I think I wanted to wait until we had this right here, make sure there's any other questions, and after that, I think we will send around some good times for the subcommittee, make sure it works, and then get people lined up.
Okay.
Sound good?
I think that worked well with the RFP for the legal counsel. I think that's great.
I agree. That's the model we're using.
Okay. All right, great. We'll move on to new business.
Oh, new business?
Yes.
I have a couple of new business items following up on the world languages presentation. I would like to look at when we have these trips abroad, the selection process for the students who are selected to go, to make sure it's done equitably. And the other thing I would like to get is what is going on in the classrooms while the students and teachers are away. I just had a conversation with a parent about, the students who are not able to travel for whatever reason, due to numbers or athletics, whatever the reason is, they're left in the classroom without a teacher, viewing movies. What are we doing academically for those students who are not on that trip during that period of time, so they're not losing 2 weeks of academic time? So if we could just, I understand the trips are valuable, but there are students who are 22 as opposed to how many students are in the classroom.
Okay.
Great.
So that was one item, and the other item I wanted to ask for is on the middle school. Do we have any data on how many students from the 8th grade are electing to go to a high school other than Norwich Shore High School? And do we have that data possibly going back? The reason why I ask is I've had a couple of people come up to me and say there are so many students that are not going on to the high school from the middle school, and I don't know if they're just talking to each other, if it's, the same as every other year, if there's if there's even any truth to that, right? So it leaves me in a position where I can't respond. And I think it would be interesting. People elect to send their children to different schools for any number of reasons. I think it would also be interesting if we had the data as to who was electing to go to a private school, what the reasons were for that, if there's a way to do a survey.
Where the person's identity would still be.
Yeah, well, a confidential survey, right?
I believe we did receive certainly not the survey with the reasons why, but there was one point you might be able to find in the archives of a report that we received on it from Dr. Melnick on how many students were not moving on to the high school.
And you know what?
I'm sorry. I haven't heard of an unusually large number this year, but that doesn't mean it's not true either. Right? Nobody's spoken with me about it.
I don't think. Well, I don't think there's really any basis to say there's an unusual. My point is, I don't think there's any basis to say that unless you actually have the numbers, right?
Right.
And if you have the and because class size varies, you would have to really do it on a percentage basis if you're going back on the data. And I don't know if it's possible to really get that data accurately because people move. There have been plenty of instances where students have gone someplace for a year and come back into district. So there is inherent unreliability but if at least we had some sort of sense as to the percentage of students who are electing to go elsewhere.
And there should be, in the student management system, there's a, when a student exits, they don't just exit, there's a reason code that goes
that
in
would be
Power
great.
School. So we can probably, well, let me figure out how we can get some information on this, because we can.
Demographic projections that
Definitely.
we got a year or two ago, we had a big grid that showed, cohorts like moving across the years, and you could see it in that data too for multiple years.
Okay. Well, let me dig around and see what I can find, and then we'll put something together.
Because
for
it may
the-
not be anything,
It
right?
may not be anything, and it may be something, right? So who knows? Let's get the data and find out.
Okay,
Move to adjourn?
motion to
Wait, no,
adjourn.
hold on, I had one more new business.
Oh, one more new business. One more.
Herman can go though if he needs. It's quick. Peter's comments about the equity study and low-income students, et cetera, reminded me, could we, because I think it's relevant to equity, could we see the results of the breakfast survey?
Oh.
That went out.
We get it every year.
It went out a week ago, 2 weeks ago? I don't
Yeah.
know. It went out recently, so that would be interesting to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
In your next packet?
Sure.
Okay.
all right. Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Oh my God, they moved quick here. We really gotta get